Hey guys, welcome back. Today we've got our very first Bricklink podcast. This is where we're going to be opening a space where I will interview people all around the world every 2 or 3 weeks and go into their journey and what Bricklink does for them, and gain all sorts of little bits of knowledge that they have learned along the way. So that's what we'll be doing. This is the first one, and we were lucky enough to get Ralph from Ralph's Bricks. Really happy with getting him on and going through that whole process. It was our first one, so this is after this little segment here. We've got the live video between me and Ralph. It isn't the best sound quality. It isn't the best video quality because I had to record it from a webcam from a computer. Those are two things that I'll be looking to improve relatively quickly, because I want to give it the sound quality it deserves and the video quality as well. So that's something that we'll be looking forward to improving in the coming weeks. But we're really happy to have Ralph on. If you haven't heard of him, I've got the links below his YouTube channel. He has loads of knowledge on his YouTube channel. I myself have actually learned a lot from Ralph, as much as he probably didn't and wasn't aware of it before actually interviewing him. So yeah, he's got heaps on there. He's got a vlog and he's got heaps of tutorials if you're new to YouTube, to Bricklink, so go check those out. He's also got an Instagram account, and obviously he's got a Bricklink store. So we're going to put all those links below. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, I'll click refresh over here. Alrighty, so it's saying it's all up here. I've got a little thing here. We're just making sure we are indeed actually live. And it looks like we are.
Let's see.
Cool. Yep. No, we're all live now, so that's cool. All right, so firstly, we'll just wait a couple of minutes for people to come on in, and sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. For those who do start tuning in, we just had the first time using StreamYard, so it's a little bit of a error on my part. So I just had to double check everything and make sure it was all working. But it looks like we're all go, so that's cool. Hey, Philippa, my partner tuning in. She's just making sure everything's working. She's tuning in on her cell phone. That's cool. Alrighty, everything seems to be looking good. And you can hear me, Ralph, fine?
What?
You can hear me fine?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
That's cool. All right, we'll get things started. This is our first Bricklink podcast. Number one, what we're trying to aim to do here is to talk to people all around the world, and all their find out all of their experiences with Bricklink, how they've come into Bricklink, how they've grown their own brand, if you will, and store, and where they are and what they do. So just get a good experience and feel for different types of people all around the world and their journeys along the way. So welcome, Ralph. You're the first number one guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, really thankful to have you on, and for you to take up some of your time, and come on and speak to everybody. We appreciate it a lot. So thank you. If you want to just go into a little bit about yourself, where you're situated in the world, your store, stuff like that, that'd be cool. I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. So my name's Ralph Woodpeck. I run a Bricklink store called Ralph's Bricks. It is about 150,000 parts and getting close to about 8,000 lots. We're teetering up and down around that. I've been open for about five years now, I think. And I opened it up as a hobby, and just still still running it as a hobby kind of thing. It's not like my main job or anything like that, but having fun with it. I am based out of Rochester, New York, which is an hour flight from New York City. So we're on the other side of the state of where New York City is, and it's cold here. I was commenting to Tony before we started. It was like it's like yin and yang with summer and winter. Like he's in summer outfit, and I'm dressed for winter. I've got a foot and a half of snow out my window. He's probably got nice sunshine and 30 degrees Celsius weather. So yeah, nice contrast there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So what we'll do is we'll start. I've got a series of questions, and I've let Ralph in, on the knowledge of what these questions are, and we'll sort of ask the same sort of questions, so then we can get obviously everyone's different answers to the same questions as the weeks go on in the year, and see where we end up. And obviously everyone will have. Some people will have similar answers throughout the year. I imagine that quite a few people's journeys will be quite similar, in the fact that they started as a hobby, or they, Lego was, a bit of fun for them, or maybe they do it just to make money or whatnot else. But there'll probably be quite a few things that are very similar in people's journeys. So that's the idea, designed to ask the similar questions, and then we can get people's unique answers to that and how they go. So our first question is, what was your first experience with Lego, if you remember, or what was your first memory of what Lego is?
I'm sure I had Lego as a kid, and there was a couple of space sets that I distinctly remember owning, and I'm actually like rebuilding them right now. They were the small ones, like the little space rover type of thing. But more recently, like when I got into this as selling, I was looking for a hobby. It was dead of winter, like it is now. It was actually probably around this time, in a January, and back when COVID didn't exist, and you could actually go into a mall and stuff. So I went, I was walking by a Lego store, and I had just seen um, Adam Savage, who in the United States at the time was doing a show called Mythbusters, and um, he has a YouTube channel where he does like one day builds type. He's like a maker, right? Like he builds things. He was, if you don't know who he was a model maker on a couple of the Star Wars movies. So like he built like little models that they would film, like the big ships and stuff. And for whatever reason, one show he did like a J.K. Brickworks mock of the syphilis, where he was pushing the rock up the hill, and I thought that was great, whatever reason. And so like a little while after that, I was walking through the mall, and I'm like mental health wise, I was like looking for a hobby to do, and I walked past the Lego store. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a set and build it and see how it goes. So I walked in, and I travel quite a bit for my job, and the architecture sets spoke to me at the time, and I got the Venice one because we had just went to Venice. Me and my wife went to Venice for a while, just a little bit before that, and so I built the Venice set in an hour, and I'm like, this isn't worth $30. so so after that, I got into I found Rebrickable, and I was like, I was building a couple of sets, but to build those sets, you had to get the pieces, and that's when I stumbled onto Bricklink, and that fascinated me, and I went down that rabbit hole. So I know I'm like jumping ahead in your questions there, so I'll stop there. Hopefully that answered your question about my first experience.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's always interesting to hear people's different interpretations of what, where Lego came into their lives. So, that's really good. So I take it, just going into our next question there, is that how you found out about Bricklink? Was that your first experience with Bricklink?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it, and I think I bought like any new user, you buy a couple of pieces, not realizing like you're gonna get the high shipping costs when you do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I did, and what did I build? There was a couple of sets I built first. I think I built like Star Trek Enterprise from Next Generation. I still have
Oh,
that built downstairs, and then I started getting into a little bit bigger set where I built the 1989 Batmobile before it was a set, and out and about. And I still like that. I still have that one built as well. That was like 400 or 500 pieces. Um, and I found it challenging to like collect all those pieces, but Bricklink made it a lot easier.
yeah, it can be quite good, especially once you learn how to use the different tools on there, and you can create your own wanted lists, and then just auto sort of buy and go out to about all the different stores and get all the pieces you need quite quickly. Yeah, it
Yeah,
can be quite good.
I
Yeah.
can't remember if I knew how to do that at the time or not, but like, yeah, I'm sure I quickly figured it out.
Yeah. Okay, so at what point in your life did you decide you wanted to become a Lego reseller?
I don't know if it was like a point where I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I think uh, I I just kept dabbling in Bricklink. Like I was the buyer, and then I was like, well, how do you do this? Like this seems kind of cool, and um, I started exploring how to do it. And back then, like there wasn't like the explosion of YouTubers, Bricklink YouTubers, as there is now. There's a couple of people in there, and like um, Chris at Bricks on the Dollar was like probably the main one at the time, right? And he sadly doesn't have them up to anymore, but like he had a whole video series of it was called Ask Clutch. And like people would ask him a question about Bricklink, and he would spend like 5 minutes answering the question. And I think I watched through that series. He had like 200, 300 videos of that. Like it was a lot. He put a lot of effort into it. Well, it wasn't a lot of video effort, but it was a lot of like, here's a question, I'm going to answer it and take the time to do it. Um, and it was a lot of good information, and I built my store around that. But the other thing I did was on Amazon. There's a book from author called Dag Bricks, and he wrote like a book, a self-published book, and I bought that and read that, and there was a lot of great tips in that as well. He came at it from like he's a builder, and he uses Bricklink to pay for his hobby, right? And so like
Oh,
it's a different little mindset from like Bricks on the Dollar, who's like full time and does it. He's got a retail store as well as the Bricklink store in the back. So a couple different mindsets on how to run Bricklink there.
yeah, it's always interesting, the different approaches that people take. A common one I have heard is that it is sort of just a hobby, and it is there to fund their hobby. And yeah, some people like obviously Clutch, he goes whole hog, and it's this humongous thing, which
Yeah,
is pretty cool to see.
I started out like my first couple of years, like I see people start now and they're like successful in like a year. Like I didn't do that, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was excited just to be doing something. Just like, like it was definitely a hobby. And I sort of slowly reinvested it back into itself. So like, buying more acromills and buying more parts or sets to part out. And I was like buying like a couple of sets at a time and parting them out. And it was nothing like what people are doing now, and like they can I'm watching a seller right now who started a year and a half ago and is like has double the sales as me as already on Bricklink, and it's just amazing to see how quick, if you can be dedicated to uploading and doing all that, how fast you can grow.
Yeah, some pretty fast-moving stores. I see quite a few people on YouTube. Yeah, and that they are growing relatively quickly. It's quite cool to watch. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
sort of sit there and reflect on your own sort of things and compare things. It's like, oh, all right, I get it.
Why do I need this full-time job? Come on.
Yeah,
Oh, right. It
exactly.
pays for everything else, right?
Yeah, yeah, completely understand you.
Yeah.
So when did you open? Do you remember what year you opened your store? And do you remember your first upload?
I don't remember my first upload. I think I think my youngest son donated his small Lego collection to me, and that's how I started. Um, the I started in 2017, so it had been 5 years. I think I opened my store in February 17th, maybe. I think I can actually look it up. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Because it tells you right on your profile page, I think.
Yeah, I think in comparison to us, because we sort of did Lego, we started Lego itself in 2017, but I didn't actually know what Bricklink was till about 2019. So yeah, it was.
So in January I got that Venice set, and then February 13th I opened up my store, and I probably
Oh wow.
got it going. Back then you didn't have to go through a verification process. Yeah, so like I just started it up and went. So I think I started it up. I don't know like how long it took until I actually opened it.
Oh, wicked. That's pretty cool. That's quite quick there from the jump from getting the set and then going, all right, let's get into it, you know?
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. And oh man, yeah, you're gonna ask questions. I'm jumping ahead, but like
No, it's all right.
I remember like my first storage system was like, a stairlight drawers. So it was 3 drawers. So it was a small little thing, and I was like, oh, I'll write the part number and everything on baggies, and I'll put it all in. Oh man, that I remember like I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before I got my first order, and I was like, oh, this sucks. That didn't last long.
Going backwards and having to go through all the baggies,
yeah,
and having to figure it out. I think at one stage when I didn't even know what Bricklink was, I had a similar approach on. Surely you can sell these by the individual pieces, and I went and did the whole thing with Ziploc bags, and I think I took like all of dark grey and went into these little baggies, and we did it on the lounge floor, and my partner helped, and it was quite fun. We had like 120 bags, and I was like, there's so many different pieces of Lego, like I don't know why I'm doing it this way, and put it all in one big drawer, and then didn't know where to go from there. So it sort of that whole idea folded. And then once I learned about Bricklink, I was like, that's so silly. There's so much handling in doing it that way, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the drawers, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you think is the most important thing, if there's one singular thing, or maybe there's a few things, you can choose either or, that has helped you grow your Bricklink store from, what it was into what it is now?
Consistent uploading. You're not going to get anywhere without uploading every day. I know that's like harsh reality, and I struggle with that like a lot because, I do have a full-time job. I have a family. I have a foot and a half of snow outside that I have to shovel every day. So like, yeah, I mean, getting downstairs to upload a sizable amount every day is actually pretty hard. And I think that is going to be the number one thing, regardless of whatever else you do, is going to grow your store the most, is to upload variety.
Cool. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And how I feel about it. So yeah, no, that's cool. What are some of the major differences or possibly mistakes that you made when you first started out that you don't do now? Obviously, you went into that the whole Ziploc bag thing when you started out, and
mistakes is a weird way to categorize them. Like I've shifted my thinking quite a bit. Like when I first started, I was like sharing my store with my bedroom with my wife. So like, space was a premium. And so like, there were multiple lots and multiple colors in drawers. And that was just how it had to be, right? Like that's how I think I got to 50,000-60,000 parts in maybe like 10 to 12 Acromills drawers units. And so like it was all mismatch of lots into a drawer. When I moved into my current location, I basically took over the basement, really the half of the basement that's not finished down there, and I've got plenty of room to grow. And so like I started doing the bricks on the dollar way, which was one lot, one drawer, and I did that quite a bit for a long time. So you can tell like right around drawer 1,000, like everything before drawer 1,000's got multiple mix of multiple lots in it until they sell out, and then everything after that is like one lot, one drawer. And now that like Acromills are expensive, like almost 3 times the cost of what they should be. Um, yeah, I'm starting to do like 2 lots a drawer now. I'm buying those little dividers and that kind of thing. Some other things. I mean, my first order, I ate I ate the cost of that order because I did shipping wrong. Um,
Yeah.
and you learn, and you move on. Um, I've also played around with different ways to do shipping. I wanted exact shipping, quite at certain times, and trying to figure out like how not to lose a penny on shipping, and now I'm doing like flat rate shipping where you just pay. I've just raised it to like $4.49 up to $35, and everything else after that's free. So yeah, I mean, you realize like that's going to bring in more valuable orders than trying to get the exact penny out of your customer for the shipping, and trying to figure out enough of a handling to pay for all of the other costs that happens. But like once you get like a flat shipping, like it sort of averages out. You don't really need to worry about it. So there's that. I've also started focusing more on use, but I think that's just a sign of the times now. Before I was doing a lot of new sets, and so is everybody else, right? And so like use, you get the variety, you get a lot of things people are looking for, and they're getting it at a cheaper price than they would pay for it new. And so like I'm seeing a lot of my used stuff go out the door faster than the new stuff that was coming in.
Mm. Yeah, I think I've seen that on your channel as well. Obviously, some of the answers I'm going to know a bit more about it because I do watch your channel, and I have seen you over the years as you've grown as well on other channels as well. So that's quite cool. So as you've grown your store, what do you think some of the challenges or the bigger challenges that you've faced along the way? Possible time restrictions, motivation is a big one.
Yeah.
Possibly space, like you mentioned before. What do you think some of the bigger things are?
I've ran into all of those. Space when I was at the old place was a big challenge. I was like even considering like going to rent an outside space, and I didn't know how I was going to make that work at the low number of orders I was getting at the time. So I felt like I was stuck there. Motivation usually hits me in the summertime because I want to be outside. I want to be in the pool. I've got to mow the lawn. Um, and you don't want to be stuck downstairs in a dang basement. So that hits me all the time. You get a couple days without orders, that really really throws my motivation off. Like, why am I going to upload more? I'm not going to get any orders. So like that, you got to play that in your head. Um, time's a big one right for me right now. Like, um, I'm constantly battling trying to get up earlier and earlier every day so I can work more. And like I I have more energy in the morning to do this stuff. So like if I can get up earlier, and then I can work more, because I don't have to start my job until like noon because everybody's West Coast or Sydney time.
Oh,
So
I see.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of I've got mornings, but I don't wake up until 9 o'clock sometimes, and so yeah, I only got 3 hours. By the time I get the orders pulled, I've got no time to upload. And so, do I do I have the energy after I'm done with work at the day to go back down there and do some more? And usually the answer is maybe just a little bit of energy to upload a little bit, not or none at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can completely. Some of those things resonate with me as well, and I've done the whole working thing as well as, having a store, and now I'm at the full time part of it and just doing the store. But yeah, no, it's a juggling act sometimes. Do you have any methods you sort of go by with how to manage your time? Like say a diary, or maybe you write it all down or something, or do you sort of just wing it every day? Every day's a different day.
Well, you said you watch my channel, so like I think the over the summer I took my manager allowed me. I asked for 4 weeks off, 2 in July and 2 in August, and he had suggested, well, what's the maximum number of days we can take off? And so we did some research and we found out we could take 30 days off straight. And I'm like, he's like, why don't you just do that? And I was like, cool, I'll do it. So I took 30 days off and I treated it like full time, which is funny because the whole time I was full time and I was working, the orders didn't really start coming in until I went back to work. I was like, no. So like the motivation started slowly going down during that because the orders weren't coming in. I was like, oh, crazy. But I bring that up because during my vlog during that time, I was really trying to figure out how to make things efficient, right? Like how do you maximize your day? And I think that was the big thing, right? And I think I started really relying on. I've built some software right now to help me pick my orders, and it's gotten better. And I think it's really gotten to a really good state in December. But like, how did I use that to pick orders faster? How did I, this was like we were me and Derek at Pop's Block Shop were like going back and forth between each other on our vlogs about um, the formula. Like how long should it take to pull an order, and that's where the Pop's attempts math on camera skit came out of, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And like he's a lot much faster than me. He's just got so much energy. I like recently, like I just gave him that software to use, and we were troubleshooting one day, and because he kept running into this problem that I wasn't running into, and I said, "Can I just watch? Like I want like share your screen with me. Let me just watch, so I can see what's happening." And so he shared the screen. He had his camera on, and I'm watching him pick his stuff, and he's just bouncing back and like he is so much faster, right? Like he's got the camera, the laptop or whatever in one spot, and he's just running back and forth, and it was like crazy. I'm like, you know what? You need to like film this because this is interesting to me. Like people will find this interesting how fast you're moving from drawer to drawer to get
Yeah,
to
no, it
pull
would be
these
cool.
parts. Yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
seriously, I was like watching, going. Anyways, so that's how you've got to like measure stuff, right? And you've got to how fast are you pulling things? What's slowing you down? Um, you really need to like get through that, like really explore your processes. How can you make them faster? Like what's holding you up right now? The big holdup for me is shipping labels. I'm like battling with myself. Is $150 for a thermal print label printer worth it, or am I going to continue cutting out these labels out of 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper to fit on the smaller envelopes all the time, which I'm doing. And so like I still haven't bought that thermal printer yet, but there's going to be a point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy it, and it's coming soon because the 8.5 by 11 paper is slowly being depleted. But yeah, like just looking at the processes, and then um right now, like how do you I'm still like exploring the processes for sorting, and how do you get that um uploaded quickly. There's some methodologies that other sellers are doing that I haven't bought on, but it looks like it works for them, which is I don't know if you've heard this, but the unconsolidated lots, where like when you're uploading, like say you've got you know say you've got 100 of these torsos for sale, right? Um, but you're just gonna upload this one. Do you go and consolidate it with the other 100 torsos that you already have, or you just put it in a new drawer and you put it as a new lot in your store?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
From a buyer's perspective, I hate that, right? Like, and I've went shopping at stores that do that, and I'm like, get presented with like 100 blue legs, and I'm like, why are they all different prices? Why can't they just show it to me in one? And what like, why is this one that's 53 cents here, and why is this one $1.50? And what is there a quality difference? Like, I don't understand. And so like I usually give up and go away, but it's working for them, right? Like they're able to upload a lot more and a lot faster, where I'm like, running back and forth when I'm putting parts away, because I'm trying to find the drawer that it went in and put it in, and where they're just picking it up, cataloging it, putting it into another drawer, and going on its way. So processes, explore them and see where you can uh, make improvements constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we are very much the same as you in that respect, and I completely understand what you mean when you say that, in the when you go and shop for something and there's like 3 or 4 or 5 different things that are exactly the same piece, and I've been there as well. I've seen them, and I'm going like, I don't understand, and now I finally understand that it is obviously that they go and upload them all to different drawers, and that's where that different drawer is. That is in a different different location to all the
Yeah.
rest of them, and I've always thought that was, well, a little bit of madness for me. I know it would save time when you're uploading, but for me, in terms of the amount of drawers you have, there's only so much drawers you have. So it's sort of putting things in all these other places. I don't know how many drawers they'd have. They'd have to have heaps and heaps, or possibly heaps in one drawer,
Oh,
from a
heaps in
lot
one
or
drawer.
something like.
They'll
Yeah,
fill a drawer with, and they talk about those easy sorter, those yellow trays with the little lip at the one end. Like that's their lifesaver, right? Like they just take the drawer, they dump it out, they quickly look for the part that they need, they pick it out, and they pour it all back into their drawer. You're like, that's easy for them.
yeah,
Um, Whereas, like we've organized our drawers so it's like you just open it up, you pull out the part like quick and easy, right? Like there's different methods to that, and I'm on the consolidated side of things for right now. I know it's slower, but my OCD won't allow me to like throw everything in one drawer, and like I want the customer experience to be good too.
yeah. No, I completely agree. We've got to a point where obviously all our new stuff and our used stuff is completely separate. Like we've even got different drawers because I don't like want to put the old stuff, the used stuff, in the same space as the new stuff. And I've even got like I do rows. You can probably just see it just above me,
Hmm.
where it's like a whole row. That's where all our minifigures live in one row, and then all the rest of the rows are parts. So I like things organized. I don't know how I'd function if they were sort of here and here and here and here, and there's double ups and all the rest of it all over the place.
See, I
I
do
don't think
that.
I could function.
I don't separate used and new. They can be in the same drawer actually, just separated by a divider. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know, like when I'm like consolidating the drawers. So when I pull orders, and if like I determine that a drawer is like only half full, I'll put it to the side, and then after I'm done pulling my orders, I'll take all of the half drawers and I'll like put a divider in there, and I'll fill the two halves, and move them around. But like when I'm doing that, I don't know if the part's new or used, and like there can be new and used together, but they're not touching. They're definitely
yeah,
not touching each other. But
yeah,
um, Chris at Bricks on a Dollar always said, "You're being told on your order screen if it's new or used. So why do you need to separate them too?" And I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah, no, and I think it's one of those things, as you say, that when you go through the process, it's one of these things with Lego that I've found is when I started out, I do things completely different to how I do them now because you figure out faster ways and what
Yeah.
works for you and what doesn't along the way, and all of a sudden you get to, well, even now I wouldn't consider that I've reached a conclusion. This time next year I'll probably do heaps of things differently. So
Hmm.
that's something I've always enjoyed is the process and finding the most optimal way that works for you at this given time, and then even changing that up again as you grow and keep moving forward. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another
Um,
thing I did recently to like just improve processes a little bit was, I talked about this in my vlog, which was I built what I called a command center, which is I took all my work tables and my computer desk and like I put them in a U shape. And so like I've got like a work table on my left side, I've got my computer desk in front of me, and then I've got like my sorting table on my right side. And like from that one spot, I can do all the work that I needed. And before I had to like walk from the computer to the my work table, and then my sorting table was on the other side of the room that I never went to, and so I never sorted. And so now like that I've got it all in like one spot, like I can throw something on YouTube on my computer. I can turn to the right and just do some sorting, and then I can turn to the left and do some cataloging. And like it's just like little things like that, like just improve your process, improve your environment a little bit, just to make you a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. I quite like that idea. I thought it was genius because then you don't have to, get like you say, because I've watched it from quite a while back in the vlogs, and yeah, like you've got more, it's a more centralized unit, and you can move around. Yeah, I
Yeah.
quite like that. We've got Pop's Block Shop in the comments. Hey, he's saying hello, everyone out there. Just stop by for a minute. How's it going, Pop?
Oh, did he
Derek?
follow me here too? Jeez, come on, leave me alone, would you?
He's always chasing you around.
What's up, Derek?
What is one piece of advice you could give someone who's looking to start out a new store, or possibly in those early stages of having a Bricklink store?
Know that success isn't going to come overnight. Just keep uploading. I see a lot of comments on our channel, my channel and Pops's channel, where it's like, I've got 3,000 parts and 1,500 lots. Why am I not getting orders? When's the sales going to start? Who knows? I don't know what your variety is. I don't know if like you're parting at new sets. Like it all depends on the parts you've got. But really, just keep uploading. The more variety that you have, the more orders, more people are going to look at your store, and more chances are you're gonna have to sell. So, just keep uploading. Keep the other advice I would say is optimize for order picking, meaning like take the time up front to organize your parts so that when you go to pull them to pack your order, it's quick and fast. Um, that's the best way I would say. You know, one of the better pieces of advice. If you're putting all your parts in a bag and then you've got to open up that bag, dig in for that part, seal that bag back up, you're going to hate life when you're pulling, 9 orders a day. Um, yeah, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely agree with both of those pieces of advice. They're definitely good pieces of advice.
Mhm.
What's inspired you to get into the YouTube and create your own channel? Obviously, there came a turning point. I noticed that, I'm not sure if you had your channel earlier on, but I noticed you were on with Clutch and you did some stuff with him, and I noticed you're on Pop's Block Shop and stuff like that. And maybe there's some others that I haven't seen as well out there. But what inspired you to create your own thing?
I started my channel years ago. I wanted it to be like a marketing for customers, and I started like my first like dozen videos were me like pulling orders at like high speed, like high speed camera there kind of thing, pulling it real fast, and then I would send it in a Bricklink message to the customer, and someone would come back and say, "Hey, oh, that's cool," but you never really got the views because let's be honest, that's boring content. Um, then actually, it was Pops when one of Pops's videos. It was like his sales recap, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. I should do that." And I think one of the first videos I did when I like rebooted my channel was like a sales recap, and then actually that's how me and Derek got to know each other, was because I was like, I sent him a message. This was early on in his channel too, and I was like, I really love your sales recaps. I'm gonna copy it. Do you mind that? And I did it, and he like featured it on his channel and that kind of thing. Um, uh, Chris or Clutch there, and the Building Up to It podcast. He was about, what was it, 97, about 90 episodes into his Building Up to It podcast, which is a podcast about Lego. Like it wasn't about Bricklink selling or anything like that. It was about pure Lego. And he was having there was a trio. It was him and Paul and oh crap, I forgot his name now. There was another one, and they were having a hard time, like getting their schedules in sync, and so like he was looking for other guests, and he put out like this thing out on Instagram, and I knew, I was watching him half the time because like I wasn't really interested in like a Lego pure podcast, but I was. Sometimes you get some information from him, and I replied and said, hey, I'm interested in doing that. with you, and I guess I was the only one, and that's how I got to become a guest host on that. And so I did that for quite a while, and then those were slogs. Those were like long episodes. There would be like an hour and a half waiting for like one more person to join, and then like it was like an hour to 2 hour episode, and then like maybe we'd uh, you know uh, talk, in an after show kind of thing for another hour. So it was like an all night thing to do those episodes, and they were weekly too, which is a
Yeah.
hard cadence to do and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I quite enjoyed them. Again, it comes from a perspective of, obviously, like you say, the Lego as an entire thing, not just specific to Bricklink or what have you. So it was quite insightful because from my background, I don't come from too big of a Lego background. So to get more information about different things, I've learned along the way. As obviously, while you're dealing with all these lots and all these sets, you learn stuff and you watch content, and all information's out there. So that's how I've learned. But yeah, it was quite. I used to watch those in the background, just listen to them, because it's like a podcast. You don't need to be actively watching the screen. You can gain everything by just having those headphones in, and yeah, no, it was. I always thought it was quite good. But then he stopped them or slowed down. I don't think there was maybe it wasn't getting the pull, or the audience he may have wanted.
Even I got to the point where like I just like didn't have the time to get on those. I didn't have the time to dedicate like 3 hours plus onto those, and it started getting to the point where like the rest of the hosts, like, we just couldn't get together. And so like towards the end he was pulling in some guest hosts, just trying to get some shows. His thing was he was the most consecutive running podcast in the group of podcasts that he was in, and so he was incentivized to do it. But then like once he quit, I like reached out to him. I'm like, hey, I can do a show. Do you want to do a show? And he's like, you know what? It's so relieving not doing that show. So that's how that faded away. And like I think you asked me about like the start of YouTube. I think there's a life cycle for Bricklink YouTubers, and like it's a short life cycle, and you see it with everyone. And I think actually, it's funny, Pops is here. I think he's found like the formula that other people are now adopting on how to stay alive on YouTube, right? Which is the vlog. The vlog is like truly how to get out of that life cycle, because it was like you would start a YouTube channel, you would do like all these how-to things, and then you'd run out of it. There's only so much knowledge that you can impart on people until you run out of content. And then like the vlogs are great because you can just like continually show things. You get new viewers, and you're showing them new things. Me and Derek are always talking about how like we just feel like we're repeating ourselves all the time now. Like that's. And right now, like I'm demotivated to do vlogs because like I just feel like it's just stale, stale repeating content. So I'm trying to explore the new things like streaming content and other how-to smaller how-to things. And it's funny, I'm running out of motivation as soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers, where now like I can make money on doing all this stuff. It's like so
hopefully you get that second win again, and you start going back up again, and that motivation kicks in again, and you go, yep.
Well, I'm still doing videos. I just don't have the motivation to do vlogging content, because like when I look at my day, it's pretty much like the same thing every day. It's like, do you really want to watch me show you my vlog or my order numbers every day, and then like in a couple minutes it's showing the next day's order numbers, and then like me maybe like doing some sorting and doing a little bit of uploading? That's my day, right? Like it's very boring, and I
had the exact same thoughts. Like I thought, I watched obviously yourself, there was Pops, there was I think it's Brick Arena. Those are the three main ones that I've watched in the vlog space, and that's what made me go, well, at first I thought, well, why would anyone want to watch what I'm up to? Like, I'm just sorting Lego. It seems so mundane, but people tune in like that. well, I started off growing the channel with review videos, and it didn't seem to do too much as it got the odd subscriber here, and I got up to about maybe 20 or 30.
Yeah, Jank Bricks really has got the market on that one.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, so it didn't really go anywhere, didn't hit anything. I did a couple of lives where I build the model and I talk about it, but again, didn't really hit anything. And obviously you'd have to buy the Lego set to do the review, and there's that whole cycle. So it would cost to make the video. And then once I stumbled on the vlogs, I thought, well, surely no one wants to watch this. And me and Pip, we put together our first vlog, and it seemed to go all right. And it was like, well, this is consistent growth, and it was worth doing. And to me, it seems quite effortless, because I'm just like, you whip out your phone, you record your content, and then that's it. You move on with what you're doing. It's not like you have to sort of set up everything and go through a process of actual work, and it's actually, well, that's what I find anyway. It's quite effortless.
Yeah, it is. But you just record a whole bunch of stuff, and then at the end of when you're ready, you just throw it all on a timeline and upload it. Yeah. But the thing I struggle with is it's the wrong audience. It's not the audience I want, right? Like, the audience I want is my potential customers. And some Bricklink, some Bricklink sellers could be potential audience, but it's not the majority of my audience that is, my customers. So like, I'm teaching I find myself teaching other sellers how to do Bricklink and becoming my competition. So it's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
It seems like a backwards theory on you're showing what you do and the years of knowledge that you've gained and the processes, and going, all right, well, this is what I do and this is how you do it. And it's like, well, now you can just rip off that and go do it on your stuff, So it's a bit of a funny backwards thing there. And I agree with what you're saying, because there's some processes I'm like, do I really want to be showing other people that I do this? And it's taken me 2 or 3 years to get here,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those funny things, eh? How has social media platforms as a whole, you've got your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, I'm not sure what exactly, I think you obviously have the Instagram and the YouTube.
That's pretty much it.
How have these helped grow your brand and your business?
YouTube has helped me be more recognizable in the seller community. I would think, right? Like, I hear a lot from others that they watch my videos, they learn from me, and that helps helps them. I don't know how much it's helped me grow my business though, right? The interactions I do have with other bricklinkers like Pops and Brick Arena and Bricks on the Dollar has helped me grow my business in terms of like learning, like being able to do stuff like this, right? Like just having a chat and learning stuff from them. I've met Chris at Bricks on the Dollar. I've met Derek. We've had the private conversations. I got to see like what they're doing, firsthand. One of my favorite things is I went to Bricks on the Dollar's retail store and visited him for a few hours, and we were talking shop and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I want to pull an order for you. And I learned a lot, like I learned because he does a weird thing of he does consignment. So like he actually, like, if I wanted to get out of Bricklink right today, I could send him all of my inventory and he could sell it for me and like pay me as it sells. And at the time he had this horrible system of how he kept track of it. It was like all in remarks. So like in his remarks was like 5 different people, and like next to each name was like how many pieces for that person were in that drawer for them. And like he had to, and like at the end of the day or sometime he had to go through each order and like subtract to the number of pieces everybody had. I was like, he asked me at one time to like build him an inventory system to do that. I'm like, no, that's not what I don't want to do that. I think he's got something built because like, yeah, it's not causing him a problem anymore. But I remember like during I think sometimes in the building up to it, he was talking about how far behind he was. Like he was like worried that like orders are going to get purged because he was 6 months behind.
Oh,
yeah. So and then he finally got all caught up. But it was very enlightening, like just to see how he managed, that consignment. He wouldn't pay people until it sold, and like how did he keep track of all that? And it was all right there in the order, right? Like you could see who was first in line of selling those parts and the kind of thing. So that was very interesting, and how he organized all his drawers and the pick path. Like he was the first one where he like really made me think about like, oh yeah, you really got to organize this in a path so that like you flow from one, from the starting point to an ending point and then start over again. um yeah, it's been great to see how other people are doing it and being able to chat with them, because you're a recognizable name on
Yeah.
your channel.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree. I think I've seen what you're describing there with Chris. I think I emailed him. It was something I can't remember what it was called specifically, but yeah, I actually reached out. I was like, "What is this?" And he emailed back and said, "Oh, what happens is you get a percentage of how much it sells for, and he sells it on your behalf." And so I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," because new ideas is something like I start to go, oh, why has he gone to that? And it's like, is that going to work? That's a different idea. So
he had
um,
he had lots of great like business things going on that like you just don't see from a Bricklink store, right? Like I think he talked about it one time on his show. Like one time I ordered from Kentuckiana Bricks, and when I got it, I got it like a lot longer than I thought it would take to get to me. When I looked at it, the return address was Chris's address at his new retail store that he had just opened up in Warminster, and I'm like, and I remembered the number because it was like 1099. It was like 1099 whatever road it was, and I was like, I reached out to him like, I just ordered from this company and they have your address. What's going on? And he's like, oh, so yeah, they're actually based in Europe and they use my address, so they ship all of the orders to me, and then I put them into the USPS system. I'm like, and oh my god.
I actually remember reading, like watching that specific piece of content, and I've got a cousin in Australia, and I had a back and forth with them last year about it, because Australia for me is my next port of call, and I thought, well, why don't I just put, like, I can have cheaper Australia rates, and I just put all my orders in one box, like once a week, send it over to my cousin,
Yeah.
and then he unboxes it and then distributes it. And
Then charges you a fee or something, or no?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
we'll split whatever the profit is, but for me, I'll be able to gain more customers from that,
Yeah.
because they'll be like, oh, because in New Zealand, I think we've got about 5 million people as a population, but Australia has about 26 million. So for me,
Yeah.
naturally, it makes sense as more customers. But yeah, I remember that specific thing. So it's pretty funny. One question I didn't have down, for some reason it's not in front of me, and I'm not sure if I passed it through, so I'll throw you a curveball. Is what sort of involvement does your family or friends have in your store? Is it just yourself that you do the whole process, or I know obviously I think someone else helps you with sorting and stuff.
Yeah, all of my sons have asked me to do some sorting for extra money, and
Yeah.
most of them have not worked out. I was like, yeah, this isn't worth the money for you to watch movies and just go. Yeah, it's like you got to be moving faster than that. Um, so then my oldest son, when he finally came to me and said, "Hey, I need to earn some extra money," um, I paid him by weight. So like I'm like, here it is. It's 6 pounds. It'll be like $2 to do this bag. There you go. Yeah, and so like he'll the thing that doesn't work out with that though is then he holds on to the Lego for so long, because then he's not like motivated enough to bring it back, because because like, yeah, I'm not going to get paid until I bring it back, so why do it? So he's got like a bunch, at least about 10 pounds of Lego sitting with him that's been there for quite a while. But yeah, mostly it's just me. Sometimes I can get my wife to help me out, but she only likes to sort by colors. She doesn't like sorting by part.
Yeah, no, it's one of those funny things that can be a very tedious job, and obviously, as business owners that own the whole thing, you know, I'm motivated to do it, but that is the most tedious job, so it's easy to outsource that. We had a similar experience where we decided to employ Pitson to sort, and it came to the same conclusion. It wasn't worth it. We sort of gave him a couple of hours a week.
Yeah.
But he obviously wasn't into Lego, and when he got to the smaller parts and the nitty gritty, it was like, well, he just took his time, and it wasn't worthwhile. And I've had a look around and just a little bit of research, and reached that same conclusion with paying by weight is far better for you, and you can just give them the stuff, and they can go away and do it, and then give you the product back, which it's a much more effective way of doing it, especially when you're dealing with you know, we sell by weight, you know, effectively, and sell different things. So yeah,
then you don't have to worry about them going fast, right? Like they can go as slow as they want. They're going to get paid the same regardless, right? Like you're only paying them for the amount that you gave them, instead of I was even only just paying $5 an hour, which is like way below minimum wage here. But like even that, I was like, this isn't worth it to me, guys. Like you guys got to move faster in this. It's like the little bit amount of Lego that's in there after an hour, it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I completely agree. It's crazy. So what do you see in your future? What does 5 years from now, Ralph, look like?
I don't know. I kept looking at that answer, that question, and it could go one of two ways. I could be out. You know, I could still be like doing this as a hobby, which would be kind of depressing, I think. Or I could be all in. You know, like and this took off, and really, it'll be really hard for that scenario to play out for me. The thing that is really holding me back from like really going all in on this is my job, my full-time day job, because in essence I work for like a Silicon Valley company, right, at Silicon Valley wages, and so like I'd be stupid to give that up. And so like right now I like doing this as, up to this point, I like doing this as a hobby, as like I'm building a company. You know, I'm going through the pain of it. I'm learning. You know, like the accounting side of it, the inventory side of it. Like I'm learning all that stuff. You know, and being a part of a marketplace, which is interesting because like in my day job, I'm like on the other side of the marketplace. Like I'm the Bricklink, right? And I'm dealing with all of the annoying sellers, and so to speak, you know, right? Like, you know, like our company has an app store, and we're trying to help developers, you know, build apps for our store. Where like I'm the Russell, you know, at Bricklink, you know, in the scenario, right? So. So it's very interesting. You know, where do I see myself in 5 years? Like I could still just be, you know, just doing this as a hobby and getting by, which I think would be a little bit disappointing, to be honest with you. Like if I was still just not making any money and I was just still like hammering away at it, because I've you know, since this summer I've really sort of picked up how much I want to do of this, but I haven't really seen like the success that should I would want out of that, right? Like I would want to start getting closer to, uh, you know, Pop's money kind of thing, right? Like where he could make that decision to go full time on it. I'm nowhere close. I'm not even at you know, Brick Arena sort of like, hey, if I got cut for my, you know, if I got how did he call it? Um, Basically he got laid off, but he had a different term for it. Redundant. His position became redundant. If that happened to me, like I you know, I either have to go all in right away and really hope it hit like quickly, or you know, I'm gonna have to go find another job right away. Like there's just no way I would be able to sustain myself on a Bricklink salary, unless I got like a big compensation package like he did.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, different stages in life as well. Like when you're a little bit older, retirement as some of the things that he obviously thinks about in his stage of life. So it makes sense for that to be an easy transition at that age. It's like, well, you got some, you can use this as it's not your, it might not be your main source of income. You might get a sort of like a pension or something like that. You are dealing with, we call it KiwiSaver here, but you've got a retirement fund and stuff like that. I think it's called a 404k or 401k.
401k, yeah.
Yeah. So
but you can't touch that until I think you're 55.
Yeah.
So
for us over here, I think it's about 65, but you can withdraw on it for special circumstances and stuff like that. But main reason is 65. But everyone goes through obviously different periods, and then obviously from that they change their approach on how they're doing it. And like you say, walking away from a decent job is a big decision. You've got to be able to accommodate on the other side of it just as much money, if not more, or be able to cut back your expenses so you can sort of function at some sort of level for a while. And that can be a really hard decision.
Yeah. And that's like one thing of part of the business that I haven't learned how to do, right? Like, or even come close to it. A lot of, if you look at like Great Brick Lab and, Bricks on the Dollar, they've got employees they have to, they pay out, right? And I think Chris has said numerous times on his channel, like, he doesn't pay himself yet, right? Like, he's like the top number, like if you look at all of the stores in the US or even on Bricklink, he's like the top numbered most lots in the world, but yet like he can't pay himself, right? He's paying all his employees and he's buying all of the inventory, and I think he's even talked about like how this next year is like he wants to get the goal of like turning over his store at least once every 6 months, right? Like selling all of that inventory. And so like, yeah, I mean, you got to start thinking about those kinds of things if you want to like make that full time. And he still works, right? Like he still has his day job.
Oh wow, yeah. I didn't know that part. I would have thought a store of his size would have been like, this is it, we're at full time and this is what we're doing. Wow,
but he really thinks insane. Like, see, the thing I envy about him though is like he really thinks of it as like from a businessman perspective, right? Like he goes in at like 4 o'clock in the morning and he does like 2 or 3 hours worth of work with everybody, and then he's got like various like inventory managers and just people coming in to pull orders and that kind of thing, right? Like, so he's got it sort of, what's the right word? I don't want to say contracted out, but he's got it like, sort of the business is running itself kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite cool. That's probably the smart way to end. I struggle with letting up, like even there was, when I first started out, it was mainly me doing stuff and Pip was the sort of the person on the side. And I found it hard to put a little bit of trust into her on certain things because I thought, well, if I let this go, then if someone stuffs it up, I'll be annoyed, and I didn't want to let things go. So to have that polar opposite and have him, have the processes, given out to someone else, I don't know if I'll ever get there, but yeah, it's one of those things that I found hard.
I remember
giving that trust out.
I remember when I visited Chris at Bricks on the Dollar, he said, well, so remember, whenever you get employees, you're going to have your air rate's going to go up. So just keep that in mind. It's just inevitable. It's just one of those things that's going to happen. And yeah. You get the most errors with the Bricklink companies or Bricklink stores that have employees, right? Because maybe they can't find they don't know how to identify fake Lego, or maybe they just didn't count right, or like things that you're going to pay attention to because you don't want it to happen to you, right? When it's just your store, like they're just trying to get through the day.
No, I agree. So just put it out there. If anyone's got any questions or anything like that, I've reached the end of the question cycle that I've got here. If anyone else has got any questions, feel free to jump into the comments there and ask Ralph anything you want while he's here. Obviously, if he feels comfortable answering it, that's cool. But yeah, no, it's been really good having you on, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. This is the first one, hopefully of many. So hopefully we'll be able to look back and you'll be able to say, yeah, I was on there, I was first up. So hopefully, here's hoping. But yeah, it was
How
really good.
how often are you gonna plan on doing these type of interviews?
Probably once every couple of weeks is sort of, in a nutshell. My goal is to, by the end of the year, have about 20 of them done. But once every couple of weeks is what I'll be aiming for, and just continuing to try and improve those little bits and pieces. Like this time, the getting it go live at the time we decided upon, that wasn't achieved. So that'll be one of the things that I go away and go, okay, well, this needs to be looked at, and I need to make sure that this is right. And maybe thumbnails is something I look at as well. There's also the idea of, is live the best way to produce this content, or possibly is it better to do it off live and back and forth, and then make a video of it and put that out? There's all sorts of things.
That's what we do with the brick separators. I just feel like you don't get the questions from the the peanut gallery, or so to speak, but you get like a better, higher quality episode to watch. I think you can edit it down a little bit. I think the interview we did with Caleb, who is on the Lego Masters US show, came out really good, right? And we had like an hour and a half of content that, like, let's make two episodes out of that. That was great.
Yeah, no, that was a really good one. But yeah, I agree with the live sort of doesn't hit like you would want it to hit, and what the reason is for going live. You have to have that people tune in and watch it. As much as some other things like maybe video games and stuff like that, the live is be all and end all, and people are just running in there with it. But but still, when you put up a video, you do have that interaction, you do have that engagement. So I think that that might be where it goes as a segment on the channel that is just those interviews, and it's a video rather than a live. But we'll see how it goes. We'll try a few little things, and yeah. But yeah, it looks like it doesn't look like you say, anyone sort of tuning in or jumping out of their seat for a question.
We chased Pops away by
saying
that he's following me around. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we appreciate having you on. We being my partner as well, I'll be mainly doing the interviews, but she obviously appreciated you coming on as well and taking the time out of your day. And I'm
glad we can make it work with the time zones. So like, So like I'm cool. on Thursday and Tony's on Friday. So like, what's the future like? Let me know.
Yeah, the future doesn't look too good. Apparently Omicron's taken over the country, so I don't know what's happening.
Oh, you guys are doing good at the beginning of COVID. So
we're not doing too badly. Most of the country is vaccinated, but it sounds like Omicron is starting to sneak in. Our Prime Minister came out yesterday or the day before and said it was quite serious. If we started to get what's called community cases around, then we would probably head for another lockdown. So I myself, I've loved the lockdowns. Obviously, that's not a nice thing to say because people get stuck in their homes. But for me, I find if I line up a lot of work, the lockdown doesn't affect me. Lego's allowed to go out, and I'm just like business as usual. But the flip side to that is we had a massive amount of orders. Like they go through the nose because everyone else is at home. And they're able to order, and they're wanting to do something with their time. So it affects me in a good way, but I know a lot of businesses, they struggled, and some of them didn't even make it through last year. So that's one of those. But it seems like a good place to wrap it up. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you for everyone else tuning in. And I'm sure people will tune in after this whole thing has gone live, because that'll be up then to look at. We'll be doing these every couple of weeks. We haven't got a specific schedule as yet, but that's the aim, is that every couple of weeks and having different people on. But it was good to get the first one out of the way, and I appreciate you coming on, Ralph, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
No worries at all. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys, and thank you, Ralph, and we'll see you next time.